What's up, Be Stellar crew? Welcome to the Be Stellar podcast. I'm David Wyrick.
Hey, I'm Alexander Ostoich. You guys know us, but today's not about us. We have our first guest. So, Louis, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Barrett, and I'm just pretty excited to be on the Be Stellar podcast.
All right, so we invited Luis today. You know, our podcast is all about being stellar, all about helping young entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs, people just beginning businesses to keep up their mindset, to shoot for the stars, to do the best that they can absolutely do and never quit. We met Luis at a Million Cups meeting, which is a meeting just for people with startups of within 5 years to go and get some critical thinking, get some ideas how to grow their business, things that they can change from people who have been doing it for a while in all aspects of entrepreneurship. I was super impressed with Luis with some things that he said. He's 19, has a couple of businesses. He has a hunting business, and then he also has a landscaping business. Luis, tell us a little bit about your hunting business.
Yeah, so I started my hunting business in the fall of 2021. It would have been about November. I dropped out of high school when I was 16 and kind of chased this career path of like outdoor photography and videography.
Okay.
And I came to a point where I kind of ran out of work and didn't really know where to go from there. And I was kind of just in a place of like, all right, it's a make or break situation. I got to make money. I've already chosen this like entrepreneur lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was past the point of wanting to go back and get a job. So
why didn't you go back and get a job? Because a lot of people, that's what they would do. You being that young, the easy route will be to go get a job. Why didn't you go get it?
I started to realize after I started my own business and started making money, like by myself, that I could use my skill sets and make much more than an hourly wage. It's kind of like the concept of selling for commission, I guess, rather than your hourly rate. I wasn't selling an hourly rate to people for a service. I was just telling them a price, and I'd sell that service to them, and they paid me that price. And it was that right there that gave me this like mindset of freedom that I can legit make as much money as I want to make, as hard as I want to work.
So you caught the dream early then. You caught the, that's why I think we speak with a lot of people because we talk to a lot of people that we try to uplift and try to maybe bring into business with us. And that's one thing that we hear more than anything is, well, what's my salary? What are you going to pay me hourly? And then no disrespect to people, but like you're stuck in that employee mindset. Well, it's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Whatever you're willing to work for. If you want it to be $100 an hour, then go work for $100 an hour. You better go put in time. To make that money. We just figured out today. We've been going to some networking meetings. For the first 10 meetings, we didn't make anything, but then all of a sudden we gained clients through that. We figured out that we made a piece $110 an hour to go to these meetings.
Yep.
Right? So how much money do you make? $110 an hour. All the time? No. Sometimes I make more. It's whatever I want to make. It's up to me. So sorry to interrupt you there, but like you caught that early at 19 years old. Was like, hey, I don't have to go work for $18 an hour. I can go work for whatever I want to work for. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I mean, when I started doing that, I dropped out. I was 16 years old. Got my license 6 months before that, and I never really had a full-time job, I guess, because I worked on a farm a little bit growing up and worked in a few different little things, but it was never a W-2 job. It was just kind of money under the table, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I got that mindset at 16 because I started to realize I could sell the product and not have to worry about an hourly wage because I'm selling the product. It's not hourly. And once I realized that and realized how much money I could make from being the seller and owning my own business, and all the financial was because of me, and I didn't have to go through different levels of bosses and corporate and stuff like that. I started to realize like I'm taking home the money and I don't have to
You don't have to share it with anybody else.
I don't have to share it with anybody else. And like not knocking anybody that does. I'm just saying once I realized that there's not really any going back, and I think that's how it is for a lot of entrepreneurs. Anyone that's owned a business and seen what that freedom it gives you, I don't think it's hard to go back to being a W-2 employee for a salary.
I could never. I was just talking to a guy yesterday who he works at a factory. More power to him. Like we always say, we need people that do that.
Yeah, for sure.
But like I was to do, there's no way in the world I could ever go back and just sit in an office and somebody's paying me $10 an hour, 50. I don't think people get paid $10 an hour anymore. That shows my age since I was in the workforce. But pay me $15 an hour, $16 an hour, because at the end of the day, I'm like, if I worked 10 hours, I made $150. You know what I mean?
That's crazy to me, man. I met a guy that worked for AT&T for 45 years. 45 years. I don't know how you do that, man, but I just cannot see myself doing that.
Well, commended to him. I commend people that stay
I
somewhere for 45 years. Respect.
Man, I
mad
told him,
respect.
I was like, that's discipline. Straight up, that's discipline. I don't know, I can't, man. To me, I always got to try something new. I can't do the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
That's why we, attend all the meetings. If that doesn't work, we find another meeting, right? If that doesn't work, we go somewhere else. We try something. That's what entrepreneur is. You invent. You kind of change and you invent yourself as you go through it, right? You adapt yourself to different situations. You go do different things. But, yeah, keep talking, man.
Yeah. That's exactly right. I mean, I commend anyone that has a 40-hour work week job and is on salary. More power to you. That's actually, it does take a lot of discipline to do that, and we do need people like that in the workforce. And this may not be true, but I think some people are born with just a different mindset of maybe it's creativity or personality difference that kind of gives them an advantage when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And I think some people are just born to be like that, and
I'll probably say courage. I think everybody in their life thinks about doing something like that. It takes courage to actually go do it.
Exactly.
Some people, they're scared of losing steady pay or losing a steady job or something like that. I think it takes courage.
Yeah.
More than
Well,
anything.
being broke is terrifying, though. I mean, in the world we live in, everything revolves around money. I mean, it really does. It's terrifying to not be able to pay your bills. It's terrifying to not have electricity, to get a shut-off notice. It's scary. And so if you have that steady income of budget, you don't have that fear. But a lot of people don't believe in themselves either. And so when it comes to who can I count on, they don't even count on themselves. You know what I mean? They don't even see themselves as an underdog. And for me, that's what I tell myself as an entrepreneur, because I have financial troubles. You know what I mean? But I wake up every day and I say, I'm going to bet on you. I bet on me. I mean, I believe that the Lord blesses me and He makes a way, and there's always a plan in your life as long as you're trying to follow it. So you learn things going through hardships. You learn things going through those hard times. And you have to learn those things, if that makes sense. You can't just go through the hardship and then be like, man, that really sucked.
But I'm going to keep doing the same thing over and over
Right,
again.
because you never learn anything. Because guess what? You're just going to get put back in that same situation again. Because, for me, from a religious aspect, God's like, hey, I'm trying to teach you something. You're not catching it. So you're going to keep going through that until you catch it. Because I believe that God will see if you're faithful in the little things. Then He'll start blessing you with the big things. Because, to get spiritual for a minute, if you're trying to go to heaven, God's not going to give you something that's going to keep you out of heaven. And for a lot of us, if we had $1 million, we wouldn't even go to church. We wouldn't care about Jesus, wouldn't care about any of that stuff because, hey, we got $1 million. Our lives are easy, right? I mean, easier because, money. But, not to get off.
It does make the life easier.
But I would assume that $1 million would make my life easier. But what would I do spiritually then? You know what I'm saying? So not to get off on a different track there, but you get put in those places. What I'm saying is you get put in those places where if you lose that hourly pay, that's terrifying. So you either have to go, okay, do I step out and take a risk, or do I run back to safety? Most people just run back to safety.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you for saying, you know what, because I'm sure at 16, you're 19, you're fixing to get married. right? That's a scary place to be in general. Plus, if you have any financial hardships at 19, like that's terrifying. But congratulations for betting on yourself,
Yeah.
for not going and saying, you know what, I am going to go get a regular job.
Well, you being so young, so what are your friends doing? Like, what did they react? How did they react when they saw that you're not gonna go get a job, you're not gonna go to college? You said you dropped out of high school, right?
Yeah.
Like, how did everybody around you react? Because when I was 19, the reason I worked so hard because I saw everybody else work so hard, right? Everybody had a job, so I went and got a job. So it takes a strong person to go do something different at that age, especially because at that age we're so easily influenced by people we're surrounded with. So what made you? How did they react to that? For you being an entrepreneur instead of just going to get a job?
Yeah. I guess it's kind of started with. I mean, even when I had the thought of dropping out of high school and kind of chasing this dream of mine, which that's kind of what it was all built off. It was all built off a dream. I believed in myself, but at the end of the day, it was a dream that I just was gonna try to make happen. But the other people, no one else sees your vision like you see your vision. So it definitely is hard to try to talk people into your ideas, I guess. But for example, I mean, I had many friends in high school that I thought were friends that told me I was stupid and gonna be a loser and just never gonna make it anywhere in life. I had a best friend. His parents never let him hang out with me anymore because I dropped out of high school. And I mean, I guess there are some high school dropouts that end up being troubled kids, but it was definitely kind of hard because like I had friends that I thought were really good friends, and then and I had parents of friends that I considered as like second parents almost, and then they kind of told their kids they want them to have nothing to do with me because of what my choice was. I had teachers tell me I was a loser for dropping out of high school.
Dang.
I remember going to class one day, and there was a group of kids outside and a teacher, and this was right before Christmas break when I was about to drop out. And I told the teacher, I was like, kind of told him what I was doing, just letting him know it'd be like my last day at the school, and just telling him, I guess. And it was pretty discouraging to hear not only what he had to say and all the kids around me to say about my dream. And it wasn't discouraging the fact of like I'm being discouraged away from what I want to do. It was just discouraging in the fact of like, man, I really thought these people were like friends and stuff. And especially teachers, like I have mad respect for teachers and people that want to educate youth. But it's kind of sad seeing a teacher be like, no, don't follow your dreams, like stick to this.
Well, that's because most of them don't know what a dream is.
Yeah.
They get stuck. There's teachers that are like English teachers. That's because they got an English major. They can't do anything else, right?
Yeah.
So they're stuck doing it. And I always go back to like Steve Harvey and all those guys. The teachers told them they're gonna be losers and all this other stuff. And now that teacher's the same teacher, but Steve Harvey, because he took a different path. So you're always gonna run into a path of resistance when you go do something else. And that's why we wanted to have you on the podcast as one of the first guys, because you're 19, bro. You're young. I would give anything in this world to be young and have that mindset right now, to be 19. By the time you're my age, I'm almost double your age, right? Dude, you can be a multi-millionaire.
It's true.
Just doing whatever you
don't give
want,
up.
dude.
And in defense of some of those people, there's a right way and a wrong way to do things, right? Because I've lost friends, straight up. Like in my opinion, the teacher, if you were just dead set on dropping out, the teacher should try to convince you to stay. I mean, they want to see you have an education and graduate high school.
Yeah.
I mean, they do, but at the same time, like, there's no need for name calling.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There's no need for saying you're a loser.
Yeah.
Like to me, it should have been like, hey, I don't think that you should do that. I think that you should try to finish high school, like chase your dreams and try to finish high school. But if you're dead set on that, like, I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even friends, dude, I've I put myself in bad situations, and people that I thought were like my best friends in the whole world, I don't even have their number in my phone anymore. I got tired of reaching out to them, and trying to be friends. And it really, like, when you mess up or you take a different path, regardless of how it happens, you find out who your friends are. You find out who the people that are going to be like your ride or dies. You know what I mean? Like, because all of a sudden they'll distance themselves from you, and they don't want it. You.
But that's okay.
That's okay though.
That is okay
That's
because
okay.
it's just a path,
Yeah.
right? It's a path where, I was listening to Les Brown the other day, and he said, eagles fly high. He's like, you're gonna see occasional pigeon, something like that, but you don't see that many, right? Eagles are the highest flying bird ever. So when you go to those heights, most people are gonna fall off, and that's the way it's meant to be. The bottom is too crowded, right? And once you start taking this path, it's hard work, man. It's a lot of hard work. You're gonna see, man. You're gonna grind your ass off for next 10, 15 years, right?
But you'll reap the benefits after those 10, 15
But
years.
at the end, you're not gonna have to work for the rest of your life if you don't want to, right? So tell us a little bit more, man. So you said you have a hunting business. What's your other business?
Yeah, the landscaping business. So I guess we can go back in the timeline and finish all that out. But yeah, I dropped out at 16. Started that whole videography, photography vision and dream in mind, and did really good with it actually. And found out I had a lot of talent in that. Kind of got burnt out and ran out of work, like I was saying. Got into the hunting business and started guiding duck and goose hunts. The business is called Split Wing Outfitters. It's located in Kansas. Just had a passion for hunting and fishing since I grew up, so it was an obvious choice.
So to get into hunting, give me a little bit of your background hunting. Why hunting? Like, what have you been hunting since you were a small child? Who took you hunting? Like, why hunting?
Yeah, I grew up in a family that, I grew up in the city, but my dad always enjoyed fishing, and we had a fishing boat, so we always went fishing, and he went bow hunting a little bit, and we've always grown up deer hunting and stuff, but we weren't like avid like hunting every day, every weekend. But my dad would go hunting maybe a few times a year. My brother was pretty big into deer hunting, and that's really kind of where I got it from. He would take me deer hunting a bunch when I was pretty young, so probably from the age of 6 or 7, I saw my brother deer hunting, and I would go with him, and he just kind of raised me in that. And through the years of deer hunting, we kind of came pretty close, and that was kind of our thing, is hunting and fishing together. And we came to this point where we would shoot our deer for the year because you're only allowed a certain amount of tags, and we wouldn't have anything else to do for the rest of the year because that was that's our passion, that's our hobby.
Sure.
What are you gonna do after you've already filled your tags? Okay. So we would squirrel hunt. We would go try to hunt whatever we could put in our bellies, I guess you'd say. And we finally that show Duck Dynasty. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, Duck Dynasty. Yeah.
The show Duck Dynasty. That was a funny show, and we saw it on there. And we're like, why don't we try to duck hunt? We'd never done it before.
Never duck hunted.
Duck hunted.
Let's see. What age would you have been?
I think I was like 12.
12.
I was like 12. And where my brother lived, there was a pond across the road from his house, and I hope no game wardens are watching this. But anyways, there was this pond across from his house, and me and him ran over there and jumped this fence and shot the ducks off this pond, and we shot our first ducks that day. And we were like, dude, this is so cool. We just shot ducks in the air. They were flying. We shot them,
which is a little more challenging.
Yeah, a little more challenging than shooting them right on the water. So we were hooked from that day on. And as soon as we did that, we were like, all right, we gotta do this more. We gotta do this, put the work into it legally, legally buy some decoys and actually go try to do this. So we did that, and I guess from there, just when I find something I'm passionate about, I will
kind of delve into it.
I will put every living hour and stuff like that into learning, the craft, I guess you would say.
That's good, though.
So that's how in a few short years, I was very good at.
So when you open? So what is the name of your business again? The hunting business?
Split Wing Outfitters.
Split Wing. Okay, yeah, Split Wing. So when did you do your first split wing hunt?
It would have been last year, the beginning of November sometime.
So about a year.
And right. What is it? Explain to us. What do you do with it? Yeah,
so basically I have a lodge that we rent out there, and kind of just becomes word of mouth or marketing, I guess. But I put these hunts out there for people to book. They book the hunt, come their date, they'll come out there, stay in our lodge, we'll feed them, and normally come for 3 days, something like that, and then each morning we'll take them out duck hunting, and I'll guide the duck hunt, so I'll put out the decoys and just kind of make sure the hunt goes correctly.
The way
Yeah.
the people get what they paid for.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I guess, for example, there's people, let's say, that live in Dallas. They don't have access to a place to go duck hunting because they live in Dallas. So unless they want to go out and do the due diligence and take the time to go find a spot, then they're gonna have to hire a guide or
Somebody who has land.
hire someone that has land and has all the decoys and has already put all the initial investment in for it, and then you just pay this small amount of money compared to what
It's
I
like
put into it.
paying to guarantee that you're going to kill something.
Yeah, it's not always guaranteed, but
No, I mean, but there's
So,
there's
most
a
of
good
the time,
there's a good
yeah.
there's a good chance.
there's a 99% chance.
that
Do
you're-
you own the property or do you rent it from somewhere? I
So
know you
we-
said you rent a cabin. Is that on
Yeah, we
somebody?
rent the cabin and
Yeah.
then we rent most of the land we do is I'd say it's kind of 50-50. We'll rent some of it. I guess we call it lease in the hunting business. We'll lease the land, or we'll just get permission, and then if someone doesn't want to do an exclusive lease, we'll do just permission, and we'll give them some money just for I feel like if we're making money, it's only fair if we
Sure.
give
yeah,
some
all
to the landowner.
all parties
Yeah,
involved.
everyone gets
Yeah.
a little bit of a cut. So
Man, I think that's awesome. I'm not much of a hunter. I'll admit it. I know how to hunt, but I'm just not. I don't. It's just not something that's never got me.
Yeah.
Like I have friends that, dude, when hunting season rolls around, you can't talk to them about anything else but hunting.
Yep.
And they talk about different. I mean, and you know this just from being in the military. Like when they're talking about their guns, they're talking about the different size caliber bullets. They're talking about, and dude, I'm sitting there just lost. Like, oh yeah, okay. There's.
Maybe you should learn something about guns. You wouldn't be lost.
I know that you point and you shoot and they'll kill people. What else do I need to know? Well, I say kill people. I guess that's a terrible thing to say. But
kill
point-
whatever you're hunting.
kill
Yeah.
whatever kill whatever you're hunting. Most dangerous game here. Kill whatever you're hunting. I know those things. Like I can hunt, but I just don't. Like
the bug never bit you.
it just never got me,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I've been hunting. I remember sitting squirrel hunting with a 20 gauge and had 4 deer walk up on me, and I would think I was like 11 or 12 years old, and I didn't know if a 20 gauge would kill a deer. Just straight up didn't know, Just sat there and just watched them. I've never killed a deer. I've killed some squirrels and things like that, but like it's just never been something that. See, I think bow hunting would be fun, just from the extra skill it takes to, get them in within yardage, and I think that would be. I have a lot of friends that bow hunt, but I've never shot a compound bow. I've shot a recurve, but never shot a compound bow. So maybe you would take me hunting sometime.
Yeah.
Hey man, I got 24 acres. Anytime you want, man. So 24 on mine, and then there's another like 70 or 80 that nobody's really using next to me. It's just top of the hill, completely isolated, right there in the show.
Yeah.
Let me know whenever
Maybe
you want to go.
put some cameras out and feeder.
So actually, my
Preparation is
neighbor,
key. Yeah.
my neighbor actually wants me to go hunting with him this year, and right now I guess both seasons are just started.
Yeah.
So
It's not the bows you put in your hair.
he
now.
has. So he has the feeders already. He's got the cameras, trail cams, everything. He like sends me pictures all the time. He's like, dude, check out this deer, man. And he like drives around
It
and
is
he
really
counts the deer. He's like, dude, I just drove around. I counted 46 deer tonight. I'm like,
Jeez.
No, it's really
crazy.
cool. I have friends
Yeah.
that they'll show me like the pictures of the deer from the trail cams and stuff, and like I've seen some monster bucks.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, you haven't gotten that guy yet, and they're like, he's super elusive. Like, they're
I'll be
just
like
that's
that.
why they're so big. It's
I'll
'cause
take you
they're
up on
just.
that after the
yeah,
We'll
dude,
do.
come on over. Let's go shoot some stuff,
I'll
man.
bring
I'm
my
excited.
slingshot.
slingshot.
Shoot for the eyes.
I got a few decent guns, for hunting. So
I've
whenever
got a
gun
hunting
season
rifle.
rolls around, so
Yeah.
we can definitely do. There's like every time I drive out of my property, I see few of them. Every time I come home, I see few of them.
Really?
Like literally, if I just brought a gun in my car, I can probably just drive down my driveway and just shoot one on the way
I
out.
saw 4 in my
Like
yard.
it's just that many deer, man.
I saw
It's crazy.
4 in my
I
yard
might
this
actually-
morning.
I might
So-
actually hit you up and try to bow hunt a little bit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, anytime you want to use my land, man,
Because
you can.
I don't got a place to do it anymore around here anyways.
Look at that, doing deals on Beast Stellar.
Wow.
Right
Alright,
here,
so
right
listen
here,
here,
live
guys.
on,
Live deer hunting
live on the
deals.
podcast.
So hey, at the end of the podcast, we'll throw up Luis's number for split wing. So if you're into hunting and you want to duck hunt, give Luis a call when it comes to that. Now, the landscaping business, which is the first thing that we heard presented at
Yeah.
Million Cups. So how did that come about? How did we go from hunting to landscaping.
Yeah. So hunting season was over. I made pretty decent money, but obviously I'm not gonna sit around for the rest of the year. So I was like, all right, what do I do now? So it was about February. I got a framing job. I absolutely hated it.
Framing houses.
Framing houses, yeah. It was the worst thing I've ever done. And then so I laid off, quit the job, whatever you want to call that. And when that happened, I was already kind of plotting before I quit / got laid off to start a landscape business. So it was like
I got your pun there. Plotting.
plotting.
Land. Plotting land.
No,
You know,
I
I'm
didn't.
the only one that.
I didn't mean to do that, but okay. Anyways, it was like 2 weeks before I even left that job, and I had like this whole. I had logos made. I was plotting this, so I was ready to like start this business. And as soon as I got laid off, I started the business like that week.
Why'd you get laid off?
I just was a very good framer.
So
I had to try very hard.
okay.
So you got fired.
Well, it was a weird situation.
Well, I didn't know if it was like I didn't know if it was COVID or like what.
No, it was a weird situation.
I was just wondering.
He didn't like fire me, but like we
implied
had
that you shouldn't come back.
we had it was weird. So let me explain. We had a week where it was like we didn't have much work.
Welcome
he had
to construction.
he had like his 3 main guys working, and the rest of us were kind of like on hold, I guess, like on
call.
On call, yeah. And it was like Thursday or Friday. He's like, "Hey, you can just stay home today." I was like, "All right, cool." And then come Monday, I texted him. He never texted me back. I was like, "Where are we going this morning?" Because we always.
So he ghosted you out of a job?
Yes, dude. He ghosted me out of this job.
We're used to it.
And it was like Tuesday. And I texted him and I was like, "Hey, didn't hear from you yesterday. Where are we at today?" Never heard from him. And then Wednesday, he's like, "Hey man, sorry. We're just we don't got much work right now." So
he's probably just trying to figure out a way to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like.
But you were already planning. You were planning
I was
an
planning
exit
to quit.
anyway. So.
Yeah.
So wait, this is a grown man. They couldn't just tell you, "Hey man, I don't think you're doing a good job. Like, I don't want you back."
Well, in construction though, like
That is so crazy.
you don't
man.
always need everybody, and like the people
Yeah,
that.
but like not tell somebody for 3
But
days. though?
hey, as an owner of a construction company, like there are days you don't need everyone, but you still like keep those people because there are days that you need somebody to come out and just move.
I know he was like going. I know he like wanted to fire, like get rid of me, but he didn't want to like say it because we live on the same road. Like I've seen him at other like things. Like we kind of like.
So you guys cool now?
We know each other. I haven't talked to him since. Dude, he still owes me $300. I need to text him about it.
Oh gosh. So, anyways, Freedom. What's the name of your landscape?
Freedom Lawn and Landscape.
That's what I thought. Freedom Lawn and Landscape. Okay, so you're plotting. You're making a plan to start this landscape. Why landscaping though? Why mowing yards?
I knew that it was one of the only jobs that would like on a calendar would fit perfectly around
Hunting season. Okay.
Which it actually does. Perfectly.
No, I can see that because like I actually haven't had to. It's not really gotten crazy cold out, but with the way that the weather has been, I haven't really even. I've had to weed eat my yard, but I haven't had to mow probably in like once in the last month. And I didn't really even want to mow then because I was like, dude, the grass is dead. And
It was a dry season, man. It
Yeah,
was
well,
like I only cut my grass like 4 times this year.
It was a tough
That's
year
it.
to
once
run
it
a
hit
landscape
when it hit
business.
4 foot tall.
It was, man. It rained and it started and I got really busy for like 2 weeks, man. I came back and it looked like I was, I don't know, cutting a field down,
But luckily,
man. Like I was gonna get hay and
you
stuff.
live where nobody can see your house, so it's
Yeah,
not like
nobody,
it's not like anybody's like, oh my god. It's like it's you coming home being like, dude, I need to cut this grass.
That's
Your own self-shame.
You're self-shaming
That's exactly
yourself.
what it is. That's exactly what it is. I had to get myself to do it, man. And then when I did it, I left like tracks of grass, So next time I cut it, it was like all dead grass, like getting spit out of the mower.
You should have just called a neighbor and had him come bale hay.
Hey, you should have called,
That would have been smart, actually.
or you should have called Freedom Lawn and Landscaping.
Lawn and landscaping and have it cut properly.
I know the owner.
Yeah,
No,
me
go
too.
ahead. Okay, so
I
you
know
got into mowing lawns,
so
things
I
like that.
was plotting that business and got into mowing lawns. And like anything else I've done, I've just done a ton of research. Legit just like stay up like at night and watch YouTube videos about how to market a lawn and landscape business, how to gain new customers, how to just all the ins and outs of owning a lawn and landscape business or a service-based business, how to do it the right way and how to scale these businesses quick. Because I knew I had to scale it, or else I wasn't gonna be able to make enough money to live and
It's
live.
not really a lucrative uh, it's not something that, how do I put this? There's a lot of lawn and landscaping
Yeah.
companies. What did you call the guys? Chuck in a truck.
Yeah, chucking a truck.
Chuck in a truck. There's a lot of chucking a trucks, because
Yeah.
like, cause that's the first time
What
I've
does
heard
that
of it.
mean, man? What does it mean?
That is a term. Chucking a truck is a term like in the lawn care industry of like the one guy in a truck by himself that just like has like this, beater truck and like just one mower or something. Just goes around and mows like 10 yards.
Yeah, it's a
Chucking a truck.
it's a push mower and it doesn't even have the self propel on it, right?
There's a couple chucking trucks that got a rider,
Oh, there you go.
but they're still chucking trucks.
Do they make good money?
Do what?
The Chuck and the truck guys, do they make good money?
Obviously, they make enough money to keep coming back to try it again.
They make enough money to, like, those are like the people that do it as like a side gig. There's not really many chucking trucks that are doing this as like a full-time job. And kind of what I knew is like, I want to make this a full-time job and I want to make this a business. Like, I want to scale this big enough to where if I ever wanted to sell this, like, it's worth money. So that's kind of my mindset going into it, because if I'm gonna spend time doing something, I want that time I spent to be worth something down the road. So I didn't just want to be like, oh, I'm gonna get 10 yards and just mow them, and next year I'll do something different. I wanted to build something that would be
Commercialize it.
Yeah,
like where you're
commercialize
doing
it.
Big
maybe
business
franchise it and turn this into a legitimate business that I could sell down the road, or just be like a the private hands off in the business.
A different kind of Chuck in the truck.
Yeah.
You're the Chuck that drives around and makes sure everybody's doing their job.
So how's it doing right now? Like the business, is it good?
We did
Making
pretty
money?
good for spring and summer, and I guess for a startup we probably did better than most people would have done, I guess, in their first year of business. But
Even with the dry season.
yeah, even that really hurt us not being able to mow very much during that season.
Because you don't, even when the grass starts kind of growing up, you don't really want to mow it because
Yeah.
it's not seeding and you're not promoting good grass.
And people
health.
say, like, I talked to a ton of lawn care guys, and they said June and July you're gonna have a lot of people call because they're tired of cutting the grass. Well, June and July this year, no one called because there was no grass growing, so they weren't tired of cutting the grass.
You could have a weed eating business
Yeah, you could do that, I guess.
because
Make $15 every house.
yeah, the weeds are still growing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the main yards weren't growing.
But I guess now, like, we're coming out of the lawn care season. I just got some lawn aerations and overseeding to do. But other than that, we're coming out of the season. And
So, what are some struggles that you face in your hunting business and landscaping business, like stuff that you thought was going to be a really big problem, but yet you overcame just through perseverance?
scheduling, like, trying to schedule your own life and like still have a happy, like, enjoyable life with family and friends and stuff.
Entrepreneurs have lives.
So time.
Not really.
Time is the issue.
Time
Time
is
is a
the
big issue.
There's only so much time in a day, and to scale your business at this stage, like that first year stage, it's like you gotta put so much time. Like you're the marketer, you're the lawn care guy, you're the networking guy. Like you gotta be everywhere all the time.
So, would you say it's like that with every business, though?
Yeah, that's every business.
It's like if you were going to start your own business, because this is for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Coming from you with a 19-year-old having two businesses, you've already realized that you have to have self-motivation. You have to market yourself. You're the guy. You're the guy that's going to start and make it all happen,
Yeah.
right? And
Like-
there's nobody else that's going to get Luis out of bed in the morning and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, Luis, time to go make a buck."
Yeah. My parents aren't waking me up like they were for school anymore, so it's definitely different. And like you said earlier, it's like you're betting on yourself. Like this isn't gonna work unless you make it work. No one's going out there doing it for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no overnight success that doesn't.
It's delayed gratification. We
Yeah.
talk about that
And
a lot.
that's the beautiful part about owning a business or starting one, because you actually you put all that time into it up front, and it's an investment for the future.
Yeah.
And down the road, man, you
Reap the
grow both of
benefits.
the businesses. You hire people, general managers, whatever you want to call them, you can do whatever you want afterwards. You can go start a third business, fourth business,
Yeah.
right?
Even
And
if
that's
you
how
sell
people
that,
usually
sell that first one, there's people out there
Yeah.
that literally just build businesses, start businesses, build businesses,
Sell
sell
and
businesses.
sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
You
good,
know.
that's a good business to be in, selling
Yeah.
businesses. You know,
And,
it's
and
just
to make your company worth something that's worth selling, especially like in the business world, you know, people have businesses and they like want to get out and they're like, I'm not buying your business. Like,
Yeah. Well, there's
What-
certain aspects you got to have to your business to make it a sellable business to someone that, you know, to anyone that knows much about business or has owned business before. You got to have the right structures and systems in place to have a business that's capable of being sold for, you know, significantly more than what you've put into it. And that's kind of something I've learned along the way when it comes to my businesses is all these businesses I'm starting, and I mean, I have plans on starting more in the future, but all these businesses that I start, it's all based off, you know, to scale it is obviously the goal, but there's things inside of scaling it that are important, like marketing and systems and structure of the business is very important. So like in the lawn care business right now, what I'm focused on this next year is for one, marketing and sales, because you don't have a business unless you're selling stuff. So, or selling your service. So I gotta sell my service, but also I gotta have, you know, the structures and the systems in place to make the business efficient to where it's not, you know, I gotta, you know.
That's a hard place to be in.
When you start a business, your mind is just like overwhelmed because you don't have these structures and systems in place that need to be there to make it
to where it can
efficient.
It can run itself.
Yeah, it can run
you
itself.
got a million things you got to do, and it's all you.
Yeah.
It's all you, man.
Yeah.
So
Late
sometimes
nights,
it's
late nights, or like sometimes hardly any
Man.
sleep. We just were talking about that.
yeah.
You
Last
know,
couple of weeks, man, were rough.
Yeah.
Rough. Getting up at like 5-6 a.m. Working till like midnight, 1, right? Going to bed, be like, man, I got all these things to do, and then you can't really sleep. In the morning, you wake up before your alarm clock.
and
just
when you're
'cause
trying,
like ready
and when
to
you're
go.
trying to sleep, that's when your mind starts to relax and starts planning for the next day. So you're laying there going, okay,
I gotta do
What
this.
do
I gotta do this and this and this, or how, or even at the worst part, how is this gonna work? How am I gonna pay this bill? How am I gonna make, because if I can pay this bill, then I can start making more money, but I gotta have the money to, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, what am I, like literally I've sat there, what am I gonna do? Like,
How am I going to pick up this equipment and mow all these yards when it all needs to be done before
right.
12 o'clock?
And I don't really have enough, like, income to hire an extra person to go do all that stuff for me.
Yeah. I think that's like where I'm at right now is this first year in the business and then going into the next lawn care season where I'm focused at is, okay, I've made enough to, you know, support myself. And one thing, I don't know if you guys know who Grant Cardone is, one thing that Grant Cardone really pushes is hiring.
Love that guy.
Yeah, hiring people, because he says, you know, whenever you hire someone, it doesn't matter what aspect of the business that they're working in, you will see your business grow because they're handling something and you're also handling something. You're able to do twice the workload now that you were able to do by yourself, as long as you hire someone good.
At least half the workload.
Yeah. Not everyone's going to take care of your business like you want to take care of your business because it's not their business. But point is, when you hire someone, you're able to do more. And when you're able to do more, you're able to make more. So that's kind of where I'm focused at this next year is hiring someone to get on with Freedom Lawn and Landscaping to just start out as, you know, in the lawn care part of it. And then, you know, as they stay with the company, they'll start making more money, start getting more, you know, responsibilities. If they want to be a crew lead, then I'll give them that. And, I mean, coming with that, though, is if I want to have one person and then I want to have enough money to make them a crew lead and pay them more and hire a couple people under them, I got to have more lawns for them to mow. So that's my job is, like, sales, like, and that's something I love is selling the product. But you got to believe in your product a lot to sell it. So that's one thing I've learned this year is as I've gotten better at my craft and gotten better at and more confident in everything I do, I'm able to sell everything I do better because I know my service is what it's worth.
You're not just faking it anymore.
Yeah, I'm not faking
You're
it.
not just saying,
Dude, that
man,
first-
you didn't never cut a lawn. Man, I cut that grass better than anybody ever cut in their life.
That first couple
I
of
hope.
months, you know, your confidence is all just like you just gotta like
You gotta build it. You gotta build it up.
you almost gotta make up confidence in your mind to be like, all right, I'm gonna
Well,
go sell
it's the
this.
same thing in construction. Like when I first started construction, I was afraid to try to do things by myself because what if I screw it up? Now I'm just like, if I screw it up, I'll fix it. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, I'll just go ahead and try it, because if I mess it up, I know how to fix it. But when I first started, it was like, oh my God, if I screw this up, like, I'm fixing to buy this $20 board. I don't have $20, for whoever my boss was. Or I'm fixing to mess this up. I'm going to have to buy a new bundle of shingles. I don't have $28 to buy another bundle of shingles. Like, as sad as that is, like, what do I do? But you eventually you just got to, with anything, just dive in and just hope you can fix it.
Well, you learn along the way too. Like, you learn as you're doing it. And if you might mess it up, but you're gonna learn from the mess up, you're not gonna mess it up again. So what are your plans for the future, man? Like, what do you wanna do with both businesses? Like, let's say 10 years into the future. By the time you're like 30, what would you like your businesses to be, and which actions are you gonna take to get them there?
Yeah. So I guess my plan for the hunting business is, that's kind of like what I tell people, my passion project. That's something I'm passionate about. That's something I'll do that even if it's not paying dividends. I'll do it just because I love it. So I mean, it's work, but it's not work to me, because I do that even if I'm not making money. I'll be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of just my passion project. So I'd like to stay active in that business and stay hands-on with it, and continue to run that. And the goal is to get it to around 500,000 in revenue every year, and have a good team hired. A few more guides that are working for me that are good, and just grow that and make it something that, build a lodge of our own.
So if I'm a guy that wants to come and hunt with you, okay, and I want to come on a 3-day trip, how much would that cost me?
Right now on our website it says $1,500, but I'm running a deal for $1,250 till the end of October.
Okay, nice. So 1,500, that includes the food,
Yep.
lodging, and 3 days of hunting,
Yep.
as much as they want.
Yep.
Is there a
not
certain
bad.
fill for ducks?
Is there a certain what?
Like like deer, you can only kill so many deer. Is there a same thing?
Yeah,
with
so you
ducks?
get like 6 ducks a day plus geese, so like 6 geese a day.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
try to get in, like people in the hunting world, at least the people we're trying to market to, are people that they're not really cared about the bag limit, you'd say. It's like they're not really cared about, oh, I gotta kill my 6 ducks and my 6 geese to get my money's worth. They're coming for the experience of it, and the fact that they're there with all their buddies. They get to go back to the lodge, drink a beer with their friends, and eat some good food.
So people come in groups. You
Yeah,
have
That's just like a getaway.
Like 4 or 5.
It's like a getaway
Like 4 or
weekend.
5 friends, they come
Yeah.
over there,
Yeah.
and just like,
So what
that's good.
What do
man,
you use
that's
to
awesome.
hunt duck? What type of like gun? What type of ammo would you
Use a
use?
shotgun, 12 or 20 gauge, or
Okay.
whatever gauge you please, I guess, and then decoys and.
Because there's just like
Spot.
somebody like me who's never been duck hunting. Like, I own a 410 shotgun. That's it. I don't own a 20 gauge, 12 gauge, anything like that. So
You could use that, yeah. You just gotta have steel shot.
yeah. Well,
Stay legal.
it's a single shot, so I just have to be.
You just have to be a good shot.
I've never shot it. To be honest with you,
Really?
I've never shot it. So
Don't miss.
he's 100%. Yeah.
Okay, so that's about when it comes to the hunting business. What about the landscape business? What are your projections in the next 10 years, and what do you want to be with it?
The landscape business in 2 years, the goal is to have $1 million in revenue, and I want to be hands off with it. I won't be in the field anymore in 10 years. I'll have office managers, have a few crews in the field, maybe one for landscaping. I'm not sure if everyone normally picks a path, and this is kind of something in the landscape business. Everyone normally picks a path. Like they'll all start lawn and landscaping, but they'll either go landscaping or lawn care. And I'm kind of just in the process of figuring out what our niche is. If it's lawn care, then we'll do that. If it's landscaping, then we'll do that. But I want to have a few crews out there doing jobs together, and then I'll be hands off and just I'll hire enough people in the company that make it all run, and at that point it's sellable, or I'll just
Yeah, because you already got the clients, you got the income,
Yeah.
you got everything, all the systems are put in place, and
yeah.
somebody that just doesn't want to start anything up but it's got the money, you can just come and buy a business off of you.
Yeah, I don't think I'll sell it. I'll probably keep it just because, getting the dividends from a business like that are probably in the long term better than just getting a big chunk of
Well,
change.
see if you that's a business that you can literally have repeat customers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah.
lawns will continue to grow.
And especially if you get a business that you get the systems in place like that business won't ever, fail really.
Well, because grass is always going
Grass
to
is
grow.
always going to grow.
You know, that's kind of like being a barber. Like, people always need their
Yeah.
haircut.
Mm-hmm.
Even in a recession or something like landscape work too. Like, it doesn't matter if we get into a recession or something like that. People are still going to need work done. Let's say it's insurance claims or something. If someone's house gets, say we're in a recession and someone's house gets hit by a tornado, so they're going to have their house rebuilt, or they're going to have to move. But something's going to be built in place of that house right there, and there's going to be landscaping put right there. Doesn't matter if we're in a recession or not. That's going to be done because it's insurance money. So
what about this? I think we talked about this at Million Cups, like maybe getting into the real estate market and cleaning up houses that have been sitting for a while, cleaning up the lawns and stuff and that. There's also there's a market for that
there's
as well.
so many markets of just whether it be property cleanup or, which I've done that, just regular weekly lawn maintenance, flower bed revamps, making them look pretty again, new construction, landscape, whatever it may be. There's many different markets, so there's different paths you can
So
go
it's
down.
just about finding that.
It's just finding your
that
niche,
market. Yeah.
what you're good at, what your guys are good at, what you're seeing the most efficiency in. If I'm seeing the most profits in landscaping, and I got guys that can do that, then that's the path to go. If I'm seeing good profits in lawn care, better than landscaping, then that's the path to go. It's all numbers based, I guess. If you break down the numbers, get everything. If you have the right systems in place, you can get everything lined up right to where you're spending the least amount of money but being the most efficient. So, and that just takes time, obviously. So you just take time and figure all that stuff out. And but yeah, there's so many niches inside the industry.
So, any other businesses in the future?
Yeah, so I guess in that 10-year plan, even just in the 5 years in the next year, me and my fiance's our big project for our building our wealth and stuff is real estate. So I'm gonna start flipping real estate and buying rental properties, and I've put a lot of research into that over the past couple of years and just never done it, just because I've never had the income to put into it, and never had once you can get a bank to finance you on some stuff, you can do a lot of cool things that are just crazy. If I can get a bank to finance, this first home that we want to either flip or build or whatever, and then, cash out refinance and just keep doing it and doing it and doing it over again, you get that first bank loan, you're on your way to being wealthy very fast. So that's definitely the goal, building the real estate portfolio over the next 5-10 years. Goal is to be retired by 35 and have all of our expenses paid for by our properties.
So what about the guy that went to college? Does he get to retire at 35?
No.
What about your teacher that told you you're going to be a loser?
No.
So you would say maybe entrepreneur is the better way to go.
Yeah.
As long as you have the drive.
Yeah,
man.
you got the drive, and
You've got the drive.
you're
and
willing to go
self-motivation.
through
the hurt.
the peaks and valleys, and
because there's some suffering that happens through there. So
it's not.
Well, I know
it's
we're
not,
experiencing it right now.
we've got some suffering, and we know that though. We're just pushing through.
Yeah, it's not just physical or mental suffering either. It's
It's emotional.
all
too.
aspects of your life will be affected by being an entrepreneur. I've had relationship issues because of your entrepreneurial journey, and you just got to make it through that stuff. That's life. You're gonna have relationship issues either way. You're
But
gonna have
I'd rather somebody be mad at me because I'm working all the time than sitting at home playing
sitting
video
at home.
games or
But yeah,
you know what I mean? I can't believe you worked so much. What? We could not have money.
yeah.
So what do you
figure
say
it
to
out.
those 19-year-olds that believe college is the only way and that's what they're doing at the moment? Because I believe while you're young, especially while you're single, no kids and stuff it's the best time to start your business, to get into the entrepreneur route. Because obviously you got more time, you got more energy, you're healthier, you're younger, you're stronger, right? So what do you say to those 19-year-olds that just want to go get a job and stuff like that? How would you maybe persuade them to come into entrepreneurship route?
I'd say it comes down to your goals and your aspirations in life. If you have a passion for being a doctor, let's say, then if that's your passion in life and you want to do that, all right, go to college for 8 years, go be a doctor, because we need doctors in the world. So if you want to go down that route, then do that. But just know it takes a lot of, determination and dedication to go to school for 8 years and be a doctor. So I mean, there's two routes that, and I'm not gonna say either one are easy. I could not personally go to college for 8 years. So kudos to someone that does go to college for 8 years to be a doctor. We need doctors, and that's a very respectable career.
Well, and you could have your own private practice.
Yeah,
so
you could be an entrepreneur inside of that too.
Inside of that, yeah.
I just say it comes down to your aspirations and what you want to do in life. If you're just going to college just so you can get a job, so you can live a comfortable life and pay your bills and clock in, clock out, you're not living your life to the fullest. There's so much more life has to offer than going to work from 9 to 5 every day for the next 40 years of your life.
And struggling. Now, if you make enough money and you don't struggle and you're smart financially and like everything's working out for you that way, then you've entrepreneured yourself. Even though you have a job, you've set yourself up to be financially. But the problem we see is most people. We've had a guy today in one of our networking meetings talk about being a teacher, and he was like, you know how much teachers make, and some lady was like, yeah, poverty level. So you go to school for 4 years or however long, whatever kind of teacher you are, and then you're struggling. I was reading about teachers in California, like people are having to open their homes to the teachers because they can't afford to live in an apartment. They can't afford to live in the city they teach in.
That's insane, man. I lived in California, and it was, so I have, you see my house, 24 acres, big custom built home, all that stuff. My rent in California for my 1-bedroom, 600 square foot apartment was higher than my mortgage here. So if you're a teacher, and you're making, I don't know, $40,000 a year, dude, $40,000 a year in California is nothing. Like, you can't do anything, dude. The 1-bedroom apartment, like the size of this office, is like $2,500 a month. It's insane, dude. So, it is poverty level, and it's...
And we need teachers, and that's that's a bad thing. Like, they get paid through our taxes. We could cut pay from other people.
Well, maybe we can just keep the money that goes to Ukraine, and then...
Well, I'm just saying, like, politicians make hundreds of thousands of
dollars.
Yeah,
politicians too.
And we can't pay our teachers and our police officers and our military, but
they're more important than politicians, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Corruption.
But we can pay our politicians hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and some of them absolutely have done nothing for the last 40 years, sitting in Congress or whatever, having a great life, while teachers who are teaching our children, are just like barely, they're moving in with other people that they don't know because they're on the bound of being homeless.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. So what I'm saying is, set yourself up for life to be comfortable at one point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so if your job isn't cutting it, figure out a way to have a different job. Whether it's something you start or something that you achieve through hard work in your company, like, try to be stellar, right? Whether you're an entrepreneur or not, like, try to be stellar in your family, in your finances, in your time. Like, try to achieve that. Don't just be like, well, I just can't make it. Went to job, blah, blah, grumble and cry and murmur. No. Get up, figure it out, and do something with your life. Like, I just talked to a guy yesterday. Life is about choices. And that doesn't hit you until all of a sudden you look back and realize the choices you made sucked. And now you're in bad positions because of your choice. And then you go, wow, life is a choice. If I would have made a different choice, look where I'd be at. There's consequences to every action. What do we say all the time? We say, by not choosing, you're still choosing.
Yeah, it's a choice not to choose.
It's a choice not to. Yeah, it's a choice not to choose. So, we interview a lot of people, and they're like, "Oh, it's commission." Yeah, it's commission. Like, how much do you believe in yourself? You know what I mean? Like,
if they're saying, "Oh, it's commission," they already got the wrong mindset.
Well, and we deal that a lot around here.
But if somebody gave you a lot of money commission pay, would you take it or would you deny it? If you can make a lot of money with commission, would you take it or deny it?
Right.
And that's the thing, they don't think like that. They always think, oh, so I have to do something to get that money, because they would rather go to a job and not do anything. Yeah, lazy, man. Well, they don't believe in themselves either, a lot of these people, man. And sometimes it's not even I blame society in a sense for all that stuff because it's kind of taking the confidence out. I was like that too, man. Dude, 20, 21, I was telling David the other day, I walked into this place and they were selling fire extinguishers. And they said, hey, you gotta buy, this $300 kit. You pay into it a little bit, invest into it. But then you own a business and you go door to door, sell fire extinguishers, right? You can go to like a fire department, make a big sale. You can go to, I was like 22 and I was like, oh my God, this thing is a scam, it's commission. That was my mindset back in the day. They're just who I hung around with, right? So it took a lot of time and a lot of me like developing myself to come into the mindset that I'm in right now. Like you are so far ahead, man. Like that's why me and him were like, yeah, why don't we just bring Lewis to podcast, because dude, you have that mindset at early age, okay? And I wish I can go back in time to be 19 again.
And know what you know now.
And know what I know now, man.
Yeah.
Because I think you're a very smart guy for 19 years old, especially somebody that dropped out of high school. I think you know more stuff than some, people that I know with bachelor's degrees.
Yeah.
Because a lot of street smarts when it comes to business.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, there's like school smarts, and then there's like life, what life teaches you. And I've learned a lot of life knowledge,
There's
just stuff that I've
balance.
learned from making mistakes. I've made money mistakes, and I've learned from those. And there's people that are going to keep making those mistakes because I never had those eye-opening experiences where like, oh, this is I lost money doing this because I did this, or I got myself into this situation because I did this. And I think a lot of times that knowledge will get you places that a book smart won't ever get you. And like he said, there's a balance. You gotta obviously know enough like book smart to be a well-rounded individual. But I think I learned all that before I ever got to high school. I probably was a pretty good, well-rounded kid before I ever even started learning high school stuff. So.
Well, a lot of that stuff nowadays that they teach you that it never even applies to your life.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, teach me how to do my taxes.
Yeah. I think 9th grade education and younger is very important education. I think and this is like my point of view, I went through this, so like once I got to high school, like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, well, I never got to senior, but the first few years of high school, like the stuff I learned there, I never needed to know. I could have been great off with what I learned from, kindergarten to 8th grade, because they teach you like what you need to know. You know basic algebra.
Well, okay, Napoleon Hill. Do you know who Napoleon Hill is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he says there's specialized knowledge and general knowledge. What schools teach is general knowledge. You don't really need general knowledge. You need to know how to, do basic math, speak English, and that's it, man. I don't need to know. I don't know. I remember one time statistics, man. We were learning how many sheep does Switzerland export every year. Like, what do I need that for? You know what I mean?
Because how are you going to know if you don't know how many sheep? Then you won't know how many sheep.
It's just a waste of time. That's what I'm saying. So like a lot of people, and this is what I think it really like walks you straight into a job, because you're used to wasting time for 12 years. By the time you graduate high school, and then you go to a job.
You're sitting somewhere for 8 hours a day.
Yep.
Listening to
That's
somebody
it, man.
talk.
Monday through Friday, right? 9 to 5.
And I'm not against school. Please don't get that. We're not against school. Go to school, finish high school.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm against school.
No, I'm not against school. Like, I think that you should graduate high school just for social experience. But at the same time, like, in Luis's case, he's doing fine at 19. Not everybody's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say is not everybody needs to quit school. You know what I mean?
I've had like multiple people ask me like, "Oh, should I just drop out of high school?" I'm like, "No," because like I see it, like you see it in people, like
you need the structure.
You
need to go get a job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm against some of what school teaches. I think that they should definitely implement classes on how to start your own business, how to pay taxes, how to be financially smart, things that are affecting our society now. Like, because I don't remember half of the stuff I learned in high school. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. I use math every day in construction, but it's the same math every day in construction. Like, what do I need to know trigonometry for if it wasn't a specialized field?
Yeah.
What do I need to know calculus for if I'm not going to be a mathematician?
That's like my thing. When I got into construction, like I had all this math taught to me in high school about like stuff that's totally irrelevant, but like I barely knew how to read a tape measure, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
teach me to read a tape measure in high school. That's
Is
probably
this
a lot
the
more
16th
important.
mark or is it
Yeah,
an 8th
right.
mark? Yeah, no.
I had to have
100%.
the ones that had all the
little numbers above it. Yeah, dummy tape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dummy
like,
tape.
yeah.
I got made fun of for that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, how do I do this? And you don't know. And so then you're using your adult years, your lean years, right? Your lean years that you're trying to build up for retirement, learning a trade, learning how to do something that's going to say you're losing years of your life because you're not ready. You're not ready for life after high school.
So when I was doing my bachelor's degree, literally I asked the professor, because everything is like, oh, if you work for a company, every scenario is like, so you're an HRM guy working for a company, and this happens. How do you handle it? And I was like, why are we learning how to just work for a company? Can you teach me how to start a company? You know what he told me? We don't teach that here. I was like, so why am I going to school for business when you can't even teach me how to start one? And then it clicked in my head. I was like, hold on a second. Are you a fake teacher or a real teacher? And I'm talking to the real professor or fake professor. He goes, what do you mean? I was like, so do you do what you teach on a daily basis and you teach spare time? Or do you just teach full time and you've never done your job before? He goes, well, I'm a professor, I got a PhD. How much experience do you have in the field with what you're teaching? He's like, well, I just got a PhD and I started teaching. So you're a fake professor. Dude, he got so offended. I was like, you're fake professor. You're teaching somebody something that you don't even know what it is. So
No
sometimes
experience in it.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's different when you experience. It's different when you just read it somewhere and you teach it to somebody else. It doesn't make any sense. So that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of these schools, a lot of this stuff you can learn. Dude, I got a bachelor's. I'm going for master's right now. And you know what master's is? Extension of bachelor's. It's pretty much they don't teach anything new. It's like same verbiage over and over. It's just every time you do a paper, instead of writing a 3-page paper, now you're writing a 5-page paper. That's the difference.
Yep.
So it's like, that's why I'm so against some schools, right? Maybe some general knowledge, to know, like I said, how to speak English, do basic math, maybe even basic history, some geography so you know where things are, right? But like just to spend 12 years all the way through high school, I think it's a complete waste of time.
And never learn life skills.
I have a lease in Kansas through a family of Mennonites, and Mennonites only go up to school, like to the school building, till they're like up until high school age. It's like till 8th grade. And I found that interesting because to 8th grade, you're learning all that general knowledge that's like important. But after that, they're learning life skills. And like I find that very admirable because I have a similar idea for what I want to do for my kids. But like that, they're going to be much more well-rounded than a kid that went to high school.
So European schools are like that. So in European school, you go 1st to 8th grade, and I'll tell you something right now. High school is completely like, you don't even need it, dude. So I had 15 subjects my 8th grade, chemistry, physics, all that stuff. And it's like a college kind of based. So, you don't have every class over and over every day, right? When I came from Europe, dude, our books were like this thin. It's like 100 pages, right? I came to the States and the book is like 700 pages. I'm like, holy crap, who's gonna read all this? And then I open it up and there's only like 5 pages in there, they're actual good knowledge. Everything else is just crap, a picture, this and that, you know what I mean? So so in Europe, that's how they teach. They teach 8 grades. After that, you start, if
you start working on a trade, don't you?
You start working on a trade if you want to. If you go to you can just get a 4-year college after the 8th grade. If you're gonna be like a business manager or something like that. So you're 18, you're at the house, bro. You're on your own. You're going to find a job. You go to work and stuff like that. And then if you're a doctor, you go extra 4 or 6 years or whatever.
But you're a doctor by the time you're like 25.
Yeah, you're like 23, 24. You're like doctor doing surgeries, heart surgeries on people and stuff like that. But the issue is with our society here, man, we're so babied, like 21, oh, you can't have a beer till you're 21. Why not? Go get a beer when you're 16, if you want to get one. That's how I feel, So like, it's just people are like, we're more like nurtured here.
Yeah.
And we're less, you gotta sometimes just push them
Throw
out
them
there,
out
man.
there. To
Yeah.
give, like,
Well,
life
people are
experience.
figuring it out.
Dude, I tell
We
my
can get on-
kids,
this is a whole
man.
other conversation.
Dude, I tell my kids.
I have a passion for what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I tell
We'll have
my
to have you
kids
come back.
all the time, man. I'm like, what are you doing on your tablet? Get outside, go fall off a tree. That's what I tell my kids. And my wife's like, what? I was like, go fall off that tree. You see that apple tree? Go climb it and fall off of it. They're like, Daddy. I'm like, no, I'm dead serious. Like, we're two baby people, too baby and too much. So anyways, that's another thing. But,
We have a whole podcast on that.
yeah, we can.
We're gonna have Luis back, so I think
We are.
I think maybe we'll have you back maybe in the middle of winter, but I think right before, right after hunting season, maybe right before you start cutting grass, definitely have you come back on. Let us know how hunting season went,
Yeah.
and then talk about your plan for grass season.
Yeah. So
Right.
mention both of your companies again before we wrap up.
Yeah, Split Wing Outfitters, that's a hunting business. Freedom Lawn and Landscaping, that's a landscape business.
And both of them are in Southwest Missouri. We're in Joplin, Missouri, guys. So what we want to do with this podcast, we want to spread it through local area, so that when we bring local entrepreneurs that can actually get some business off the podcast as the podcast grows. My name is Alex. This is David, and Luis, our guest. Thank you for coming on, bro.
Yep.
Sir.
Don't forget to be stellar. Shoot for the stars. Don't quit. And if you have a dream, just start it.
Ciao.
Have a good day, guys. Talk
Have
to you
a
all
good
later.
one. Catch you next time.